Hello, and thank you for joining us. We're here to talk today about an exciting new initiative in our community, Louisville Growing Readers. My name is Becky Getzinger, and I'm the reading specialist at the National Center for Families Learning. My background is as a classroom teacher, and I know how important it is for children to have high-quality literacy materials in their homes. I'm joined today by my colleague, Brittany.
Hi, my name is Brittany Comento. I'm a family learning specialist at the National Center for Families Learning. My background is in preschool education, both in the private school sector and in Head Start, and I'm super excited to share this initiative with you because I wish I had these books to share with my students when I was a teacher. Becky?
We have 4 goals for our time together today. If you're not already familiar, we're going to introduce you to the Louisville Growing Readers Initiative. We're going to spend a little time reviewing the research on book ownership to give everyone the why for this initiative. We're also going to talk about the advantages of the Louisville Growing Readers Library and what makes this book distribution effort different from similar ones. We're also going to consider some strategies for building families' engagement with their Louisville Growing Readers Library.
So what is Louisville Growing Readers? Louisville Growing Readers is an initiative across Louisville that has 2 main goals. The first goal is to increase book ownership within families in our city. The second goal is to increase engagement with literacy activities. So how is this going to happen? How are the books going to be distributed? How are they going to get into our families' hands? Children will receive 100 books. That's a huge amount. They'll be mailed directly to their home for 25 weeks. So each week, a child will get 4 books that they're able to read and really engage with their family that week. And so it builds excitement that they have a package coming directly to them. In order to be a part of this initiative, families do have to register online to participate. So who's funding this initiative? You know, we talked about how children will get books to their home, and that's a huge initiative. That takes a lot of different people coming together to make this happen. So we are super fortunate at NCFL to be partnering with the Greater Louisville Head Start, JCPS, Lift a Life, OVEC, PNC, and United Way. Unite for Literacy noticed a problem. And that problem was that there was a lack of books within the homes of kids across the United States. And that's a problem. That results in children not being able to thrive and reach their full potential. So Unite for Literacy had a vision. They wanted all children to be able to access books, and not just access books, but access books that were celebrating them, their language, who they were, and that they would grow to love reading. So they see this vision. How do they make it happen? Unite for Literacy came in, and they are a book publisher. And what they do is they specialize in writing low cost print and digital book, and also distributing those books to the families. So again, why does it matter? Why is book ownership important? Why would we have all this time and all this energy to focus on this? So you may or may not have heard of a book desert. It's similar to what a food desert is. When there's a food desert or a book desert, there's a lack of access. So specifically with a book desert, it's a geographic location that doesn't have printed materials. So whether that's printed materials in the home or a library or even a bookstore where families can go in and be around and engaging with books or other reading materials. Unite for Literacy wanted to pinpoint the greatest areas of need in Jefferson County. So on this book desert map, they've created a way to be able to clearly see the areas that have the greatest need. So the areas that are highlighted in green are the estimated percentages of homes that have 90 to 100 books. That they're doing great. That's a lot of books, and they're able to really cultivate that love for learning. They've also, on the opposite end, highlighted the areas of the biggest need. So that's in Newburgh and the West End. They've targeted places that specifically really need this initiative. They recognize that reading is important and they see the need, and so they want to help. In addition to the research on book deserts, let's talk about research on scholarly culture. So let's break down that phrase. Culture, as we know, is a way of life. It's our everyday lived experiences. The phrase scholarly culture refers to our everyday experiences around books and how we relate to them, how we use them. Scholarly culture, there are three main components. The first component is time reading together. So when families are having enjoyable reading experiences together, their literacy skills are growing. So they're able to know what a book is, how to use a book, how to emerge their skills that are developing during those times reading together. The second component is books in the home. So when students have books in their home and they've hit the key area of more than 100 books in the home, they are 3 times more likely to complete ninth grade than students who don't have books in their home. The third component is good conversation. So the number of adult child conversational turns, so that's the back and forth conversation, not just a yes or no answer, having that actual back and forth communication that a child experiences, that's actually strengthening their brain structure. The benefits of book ownership. So these are stepping stones that build off of each other. As students have books in their homes, they build a more positive attitude surrounding reading. They're more likely to want to read, they're interested in reading, and they want to read longer. That also equates to wanting to see other books, not just the books in their home, but books at the library, books in a bookstore. And again, that's a stepping stone that makes students want to achieve and receive a higher level attainment in school.
Now we're going to and talk a little bit about the advantages of the Louisville Growing Readers Library. There are a lot of book distribution initiatives. We know that families need access to high quality literacy materials. We have Reading is Fundamental. We have little free libraries. We have our school libraries, and we have schools that often give away books to children. But there are some specific advantages that we would like to share with you about the Louisville Growing Readers Library. For one thing, the books are easily portable. Each book is 5 inches by 5 inches. They are easy for little kids to hold in their hands and hang on to. They're also easy to carry. A parent, a grandparent can pack these books in a backpack or a purse so that they can read them on the bus or while they're waiting in a doctor's office. Also, families have access to all 100 of the books they're receiving in print online. We have the Louisville Growing Readers Digital Library so that families can download and have the books on their phone or tablet. Additionally, on that Louisville Growing Readers website, the books are available in multiple languages. While the print books that students are receiving are primarily in English, although a few students will receive Spanish books if that's what they've chosen, the online narrations for the books are available in more than 40 different languages. So families can go to the website and hear a book that they have in their home in English narrated in their home or native language, whether it be Spanish, Arabic, Somali, Swahili. There are even some recorded in American Sign Language. So it allows families to make connections between books that have English text and the language that they speak in their home. The books are also highly representative. It's very intentional that the images in the books and the way the stories are told represent many different families and children in terms of race, ethnicity, national origin, ability, and age. Many of the books portray a variety of family members. It's not just a traditional nuclear family, but we have kids who are hanging out with their uncle, and we have a grandma who's sharing her experiences with her child. So children can see themselves and their backgrounds in books, which we know is very important. Additionally, the Louisville Growing Readers Library is highly relevant. The majority of the texts are nonfiction, and so they can connect and expand kids' background knowledge. The hope is that some of the things are things that kids see in their own world, like the book You See the Forest. And then there's also a chance for kids to expand. The Girl Who Learned to Fly is about a female scientist. And so we're hope that these books inspire families and children, to learn about new topics, but to also see themselves in the books. The Louisville Growing Readers Library is filled with emergent reader text. These are not picture books with hundreds of words on a page. Most books in the entire book have fewer than 150 words. They're written with larger fonts and simple layouts to support emergent literacy skills like concepts of print and one-to-one correspondence. They also have multiple uses across ages. As our children receive these books as they go into kindergarten, many family members will read these books aloud to students, but as kids move through kindergarten, they will learn to read these books on their own, and they can use them to practice fluent reading at home. Additionally, adults who don't have basic literacy skills or who are unable to read English might be able to use these books to improve their own literacy skills as they listen to those narrations in either English or their home language, and they can connect that to the print on the page and the books they have in their household. And in our experiences, children and families love them. I have worked with Unite for Literacy and the Growing Readers program for the last 4 years. I've used these books with my own nieces, and I've seen families using these books in NCFL programs. And the fact is that while they may be small, these books are very mighty, and children and families love them. It's important that we build engagement with Louisville Growing Readers. Families will receive these envelopes in their mailboxes, but it's up to us to make sure that they do something with them. And so our ask is that educators across the city begin building enthusiasm and engage families with the Louisville Growing Readers now. We only have a couple of weeks left in the school year before families leave our classrooms for the summer. And so in order to make sure that families are using these books all summer long, we need to build their enthusiasm and engage them. Right now, you can use the online library with your families and with your students in your classrooms. It is available, it's up, it's ready to go. You can click the image to access the digital library, and you can put it on your smartboard in your classroom and read these books with kids so that they can be waiting and anticipating the books that are going to be coming into your homes. You can also share this family tip sheet that we've created. It has suggestions for families on how to use these books. It talks about concepts of print, it has some conversation starters, and it gives suggestions for building a habit of reading. We have intentionally created this tip sheet so that it is written at a low reading level in hopes that all of our families will be able to access it. You can also model for families how to use these books. We have lots of experience with teachers who have either recorded Facebook Live story times reading these books with families. They've done pre-recorded videos using whatever technology you are currently using in your classroom and have been using during the pandemic. And so you modeling for families, that tip sheet talks about concepts of print. So modeling and showing families, what does that look like? The tip sheet talks about conversation starters. So modeling for families how to have conversations around books. We also want to point out some important features. In the back of each book in the Growing Readers Library, there's a virtual sticky note. And some of them have suggestions for encouraging positive talk. In Violet Sorts, which is a book about math concepts, it tells parents they can talk to their kids about things that are alike and different. So just giving families suggestions as to how to extend what's in the books. There are other sticky notes that have activities for families to inspire for further learning. In this book, The Forest, it encourages families to explore the natural areas near their home, whether that be a city park or, in Louisville, we're lucky enough to have Jefferson Memorial Forest. You can also share with families on social media, your own classroom Facebook page or your school's page. You can highlight specific books, or you can highlight tips that families can use, or you can just put the link to the whole Louisville Growing Readers Library so that families can access the digital books before the paper books start arriving in their mailboxes. We know there are a lot of summer learning opportunities going on this summer. There are the Ready for K camps and other opportunities at our community learning hubs. So thinking about how these digital books can be woven into that summer programming, how families can be reminded in communication about how they can use these books, and so that we are constantly bringing this to the forefront and reminding families, of what they can do and how powerful these little books are. So just a couple of reminders as we wrap up our time together today. Emphasize the advantages of the Louisville Growing Readers Library. They are small texts, they're lightweight, they're great, but sometimes people don't see the advantage. They're used to big, gorgeous, glorious, Caldecott winning picture books, but these books have a purpose too. And so talking to families about how they're perfect for little hands, about how representation is such a big part of them, about how they're intended to be quick reads. Families have limited time, and so these books are designed to be short so that families have time to have those conversations, and also point out those recordings to families and show families how to access those. So my question for you is, how will you create excitement for the Louisville Growing Readers Library?
One way that you can create excitement is just to talk about it with your families in your network. We're asking that you think of one family, one person in your network that you can share this initiative with.
We also want you to make a commitment. A team of passionate people have been working over the last several months to find funding and to make this work in our community. And so we want you to join the team. How will you help us to spread news about this initiative throughout the city? We continue to seek more funding so that more children in Louisville can get their own library in their homes.
And to dig a little deeper, we've also included the Louisville Growing Readers webpage that you can access right here. You can watch videos, you can read their FAQs, you can learn more about this great initiative that we've shared with you a bit today.
If you want more information, we've shared a lot of contact information here. If you have specific questions about this webinar and anything that Brittany and I shared, you can reach out to us directly at our Families Learning email addresses. If you're interested in the whole initiative, we have to give kudos to Ashley Brandt at Metro United Way, who has worked for the Ready for K Alliance to lead this initiative. And big picture questions about the whole thing would go to Ashley. And then also Ashley is working with Andrea Brown, also at NCFL. So lots of contact information depending on the questions that you might have. Thanks so much for joining us today. We hope that you have learned something new, and we hope that you are ready to join us in spreading the word about this initiative.